I stared at the letter from the medical board, my hands trembling as I read the words that could end my career. Due to multiple complaints of medical negligence and professional misconduct, your medical license has been suspended pending investigation. My name is Dr. Emma Richardson, and at 34, I was watching my life's work crumble thanks to the one person who should have had my back, my sister Victoria. Ready to give up yet? Victoria's text flashed on my phone. You should have just sold your share of the practice when I asked. The Richardson Medical Group had been our father's legacy, a network of prestigious private clinics across Boston that he'd built from nothing. When he died 6 months ago, he left the business equally to Victoria and me. I got the medical side, she got the administrative control. It should have worked perfectly. But Victoria had other plans. Dr. Richardson, my nurse Sarah, appeared in my office doorway, her face pale. 3 more patients just canceled their appointments. They said they received letters about malpractice claims against you. I closed my eyes, fighting back tears. This had been happening for weeks. A steady stream of complaints filed with the medical board, all carefully crafted to look legitimate. Patient records altered, prescription histories changed, lab results mysteriously modified, all pointing to dangerous negligence on my part. The board meeting is tomorrow. Sarah continued softly. Do you want me to call your lawyer? I shook my head. He dropped in yesterday. Apparently, someone informed his firm about my history of misconduct. Victoria had been thorough. With our family's fortune at her disposal, she orchestrated a campaign to destroy not just my career, but my entire reputation. All because I refused to sell her my share of the practice. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Victoria. Just imagine what Dad would think seeing his precious doctor daughter lose her license. Though I suppose he can't think much of anything now, can he? Something in her words made me pause. There had always been something off about our father's death. A sudden heart attack at 65, despite his perfect health. Victoria had handled all the arrangements, insisting on a quick cremation before I could request an autopsy. I opened my laptop, pulling up the file I'd been keeping on Victoria's activities. Behind her polished socialite exterior, my sister had been busy. Mysterious financial transactions, offshore accounts, meetings with people who specialized in making problems disappear. Sarah, I called out, remember that nurse who used to work with Dad? The one who quit right after he died? Maria? Yes, she moved to Florida, I think. I nodded, already pulling up Maria's contact information. She'd always been close to our father, and her sudden departure had seemed strange at the time. Cancel my afternoon appointments, I said, reaching for my phone. I need to make some calls. Victoria thought she had orchestrated the perfect takedown, using our family's money and influence to systematically destroy me. But she'd made one crucial mistake. She'd underestimated how far I'd go to protect not just my career, but our father's true legacy. As I dialed Maria's number, I thought about something our father used to say. In medicine, the smallest detail can be the difference between life and death. Now, those details might just save my career and expose Victoria's darkest secret. The phone rang 3 times before Maria answered. Her voice was cautious, guarded. Dr. Richardson, I've been expecting your call. Maria, I said, my heart racing. We need to talk about what happened the night my father died. There was a long pause, then a deep sigh. Yes, she said finally. Yes, we do. But not over the phone. They might be listening. They? Your sister's people. They've been watching me. Meet me tonight, 8 p.m., at the coffee shop on Berkeley Street. Come alone. As I hung up, another text from Victoria appeared. The board meeting's at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Better start practicing your goodbye speech. I smiled grimly. Victoria thought she had all the power, all the control. But she'd forgotten something crucial about me. I hadn't become a doctor just because of our father's influence. I'd earned it through years of training, of learning to spot patterns, of never ignoring those small vital details that others might miss. And now those skills might just help me uncover the truth that could save everything. The game wasn't over. It was just beginning. The coffee shop on Berkeley Street was nearly empty when I arrived at 8 p.m. Maria sat in a corner booth, her hands wrapped around an untouched cup of coffee. She'd aged since I'd last seen her, new lines of worry etched into her face. They offered me $500,000 to leave Boston, she said without preamble. Your sister's lawyers made it clear what would happen if I stayed. I slid into the booth across from her. Tell me about the night Dad died. Maria glanced around nervously before pulling out an old phone. I kept this, my old work phone. There's something you need to see. She pulled up a video and handed it to me. The timestamp showed 11:42 p.m. on the night of my father's death. The footage was dark but clear enough. Victoria entering our father's office at the main clinic, carrying something in her hand. 20 minutes later she left. At 12:15 a.m., the emergency call about his heart attack was made. I was working late that night, Maria whispered. I saw her go in, but she didn't see me. The next morning, when they found him, she trailed off, her hands shaking. Why did you come forward? Your sister had evidence, fabricated, but convincing, that I'd been stealing drugs from the clinic. She said she'd have me arrested, make sure I never worked in healthcare again. Then she offered me the money. My mind raced, connecting dots I'd been too blind to see before. The rushed cremation, the missing toxicology report, the way Victoria had insisted on handling all the paperwork herself. There's more, Maria continued. Your father was investigating something before he died. Discrepancies in the clinic's finances, large sums of money disappearing, then reappearing in offshore accounts. I pulled out my laptop, showing her the file I'd been building. Like these transactions? Her eyes widened. Yes, exactly. He was going to confront Victoria about it. He'd found proof she'd been embezzling millions from the practice for years. Suddenly, my phone buzzed. A news alert. My heart stopped as I read the headline. Prominent doctor faces multiple malpractice claims. Sources allege pattern of negligence. The press release went out an hour ago. Victoria's text followed. Sweet dreams, sis. I looked up at Maria. I need that video, and I need you to testify about what you saw. She hesitated. Victoria's people. I'll protect you, I promised. But we have to move fast. The medical board meets at 9 a.m. tomorrow. After Maria left, I spent hours in my home office, piecing everything together. The financial records, the video, the timeline of events leading to our father's death. With each new connection, the picture became clearer and more damning. At 3 a.m., my phone rang. The caller ID showed a number I hadn't seen in years, Detective James Chen, an old friend from college who now worked in Boston PD's Financial Crimes Unit. Emma, his voice was urgent. I got your email. The financial records you sent. This is serious. We've been investigating similar patterns at other medical practices. How soon can you come in? I'll be there in 20 minutes, I said, already grabbing my coat. My phone buzzed again. Victoria, just saw you leaving your house. Late night errand? Don't bother trying to save yourself. It's over. I smiled, thinking of the GPS tracker she'd had planted on my car weeks ago. I'd left it there deliberately, letting her think she had the upper hand. What she didn't know was that I'd taken a lift to meet Maria, and now I was taking another to meet Detective Chen. Victoria might have inherited our father's business acumen, but I'd inherited his attention to detail and his determination to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. The game was changing. Victoria thought she was ruining my career. Instead, she was about to learn that some patterns can't be hidden forever, especially from a doctor trained to look for symptoms of a deeper disease. By morning, Boston would know exactly what kind of sickness had been growing in the Richardson Medical Group, and who had really been responsible for our father's death. The medical board meeting room was packed at 8:55 a.m. I sat quietly in the front row, watching Victoria hold court near the board members, her perfectly manicured hands gesturing as she spoke in hushed, concerned tones about her troubled sister. She hadn't seen me come in, just like she hadn't seen Detective Chen and his team quietly entering through the back door. Dr. Richardson, the board chairman, called out at precisely 9 a.m., "We're here to discuss the serious allegations against you. Do you have anything to say in your defense?" I stood straightening my white coat. "Yes, I do, but first I think we should watch something." The projector hummed to life as I played Maria's video. The room fell silent as they watched Victoria enter our father's office that fatal night. Then I showed them the financial records, the altered patient files, the carefully documented trail of corruption and fraud that led directly to my sister. Dr. Jonathan Richardson didn't die of a heart attack, I said, my voice steady. He was murdered because he discovered his daughter Victoria had been embezzling millions from the practice. I have Maria Rodriguez here to testify to what she saw that night. and Detective Chen from Financial Crimes to confirm the extent of Victoria's fraud. Victoria's face had gone white. "This is ridiculous," she sputtered. "You can't possibly." "Ms. Richardson," Detective Chen interrupted, stepping forward. "We have a warrant for your arrest. The toxicology report you tried to bury, we found it, along with evidence of multiple offshore accounts and a pattern of financial fraud dating back 5 years. As the officers moved to arrest her, Victoria lunged toward me. "You think you're so clever," she hissed. "You have no idea what I've done to build this empire." "No, Victoria," I said quietly. "You have no idea what Dad and I built. Medicine isn't about empire. It's about healing, about trust, about doing what's right even when it's hard." I watched as they led her away, her designer heels clicking on the marble floor. The board members sat in stunned silence. "Dr. Richardson," the chairman finally said, "in light of this evidence, all complaints against you are dismissed. Your license is fully reinstated, effective immediately." The next few weeks passed in a blur. Victoria's arrest made headlines across Boston. The truth about our father's death and her years of fraud became public knowledge. Former employees came forward with more evidence, more stories of her manipulation and threats. I threw myself into rebuilding the practice, restoring our father's legacy of compassionate, ethical healthcare. The patients returned, trust was rebuilt, and slowly, the Richardson Medical Group began to heal. 3 months later, I sat in my father's old office, my office now, reviewing patient files when Sarah knocked on the door. "Dr. Richardson?" The DA's office called. "Victoria took a plea deal. 20 years for the fraud charges, with a separate trial pending for your father's death." I nodded, looking at the family photo on my desk. It was taken years ago, before Victoria's greed had poisoned everything. Sometimes I wondered if I could have seen it coming, if there were signs I'd missed. But then I remembered something else our father used to say. A doctor's job isn't to dwell on what went wrong. It's to heal what's broken and prevent it from breaking again. My phone buzzed. A text from Detective Chen. "Just heard about the plea deal. You okay?" I smiled, typing back, "Better than okay. The practice is thriving. We're opening a new clinic next month. Free healthcare for low-income families. Dad would have loved it." Victoria had tried to destroy me using our family's fortune and influence. Instead, she'd only proved what I'd known all along, that true success isn't measured in dollars or power, but in lives touched and people helped. As I prepared for my next patient, I glanced at my restored medical license hanging on the wall. Victoria had thought money could buy anything: reputation, loyalty, even justice. But she'd forgotten the most important lesson our father had taught us. The truth, like a patient's symptoms, always reveals itself to those trained to look for it. And I had been trained by the best.